Welcome on Hyvolution TV. We're going to discuss infrastructure as the key enabler for clean mobility deployment. So we're going to discuss hydrogen refueling stations. And let me introduce my guest today, Adamos Crunchy.
Hello, everybody.
Morning, Adamos. So you are talking on behalf of Hydrogen Europe as the chair for the Mobility Working Group. And by the way, you're also working as a director for a French company called HRS, which stands for Hydrogen Refueling Solutions. That's right?
Yes. Station de ravitaillement en hydrogène en français.
Of
That's
course,
right.
But we shift back to English, of course. First of all, I would like you to tell us about your vision of the evolution of H2 mobility, because that's incredible. You've been working for more than 20 years in the field of hydrogen.
Yeah, thank you very much, Laurent. Thank you for the introduction. Yes, I've been around for a couple of years. Sometimes they call me the evangelist of the dinosaur, which I don't like, you know.
For Dr. Hydrogen.
No, I don't like it. But let's take a little bit of a higher vision. You know, why hydrogen? You know, we are not, I don't think we are here, and I am here, to deploy or to develop or to talk about hydrogen. My first vision is to talk about decarbonization. And hydrogen can be one of the tools for decarbonization, and one of, not the only one. We have to be careful about that, because I don't like to say that.
Maybe a major one.
Yeah, an important one, because if you look at the numbers, we talk about 2,500 trillion business by 2050, which is a big number, maybe 20% of the total energy content. But we have to understand why. Why? Because why it's coming now and why it takes some time to develop. I think there are several things that shows that. First, we have now available energy sources, renewable, that can become very cheap. And this is the first driver. You know, 20 years ago, or only 10 years ago, the photovoltaic megawatt hour in France was $400 per megawatt hour. It's 40. Divided by 10 in 10 years. So the first one, hydrogen, is the best friend of renewable. And vice versa. Because if you develop more hydrogen, you need more renewable to produce it. So they are going hand in hand. So I talk a lot of time about this story. And on the other hand, we develop the technology to use hydrogen. We are using 100 million tons of hydrogen today in several industrial applications, like steel, like ammonia, like refinery. And these technologies are ready to switch. And also a lot of new markets are coming, like mobility, like SAF, synthetic kinetic fuel, and e-fuel. So you have the market that is starting to come. And one key point we will have to discuss, I think, to address, is the link between that. You know, the transportation, the matching the production and the usage, which is not easy, and which has always been, by the way, for decades and centuries for humanity, an issue. Find energy where it is, and bring the energy where it is from where you need it. So this is just a quick introduction for the mobility to come. So the mobility is part of it.
And about H2 stations, we should avoid mistakes like for EVs, because we had the vehicles before the charging points.
I don't like to say mistakes, because we have to learn from the mistakes. This is also traditional.
Let's say experience.
Experience is better. You know, if you work with an American company or Australian company, they don't make any mistakes. They try. And it's good to try, I think. Let's try and let's do and let's learn. We have to take what is positive from every opportunity we learn from the market, from what is happening in Korea or Japan, and of course not to copy-paste, because copy-paste cannot work. We need to learn and to see what is good for us, for our geopolitical organization, because we have different assets. You know, I used to say a small word, you know, my name doesn't hide that I am from Italy, but I'm French. I used to work for a German company. I feel really European. When I was in Australia, they say, but you in Italy, France, and Germany, the electrical network and the electrical production is the same. Of course, not. And why? Because we have different story, we have different organization. What is important to learn is that there is a huge acceleration. You know, I made a map of the players in the offering on the market, on the mobility market. 2 years ago, you can find 2 vehicles or 3 maybe. If you want to buy a train, you can buy an Alstom train. Well, okay, not everybody can and need an Alstom train, but you can buy a Mirai and a Hyundai Nexo. Stop. Today you have more than 100 companies offering hydrogen vehicles, which is good. So there is a huge acceleration. And 1 year and a half is peanuts. It's 1 second in this market. So it's an acceleration.
So let's see the European framework. In early May, an open letter has been sent to the European Commission. It was co-signed by transport companies, by Hydrogen Europe.
Yes.
So a letter for what? To convince Brussels to deploy more stations?
I think there are different things in the letters for me which are important. Is that first, we need to initiate the market and break this chicken and egg story.
And be ambitious.
Be ambitious, of course. This is mandatory. This is no question to be ambitious. And you know me, Laurent. I'm a little bit ambitious in everything I did. So be ambitious, but break that circle. Because I took the example at the European Commission when I was presenting. I said there is a non-competitive. It's not competitive market. Because if you and me, if you want to buy an hydrogen car, you can go and go to Toyota and say, I want to buy it. 50,000 euro, okay, you buy it. It's quite expensive, but with a very high quality car, it's similar. But you need to buy also the filling station. How? Does it work? No.
The combination of both is costly, huh?
It doesn't work. So there is no competition law that is not in place. You need to give the possibility to the customer to choose. This was the first point. The second point is that we need to create a minimum infrastructure. I don't say like Germany, but we should take some example on Germany. Try to avoid to make the small demo type, prototype. You know, hydrogen produced by electrolyzer is not new. It's written in the name, you know, from the Latin, hydrogen, coming from water. You know, it's not new. It's something that has been known for years and decades.
So we need to be ambitious again and to scale up.
Cost. One number. When you fill your car to a taxi hype with $10 per kilo or 10 euro per kilo, you fill with 10 euro per kilo, 5 kilo, you drive 500 kilometers, which is equivalent to the fuel today. Just forget the tax, which is a big number. But this number has to go down. On this 10 euro per kilo when you fill, there is 1.5 euro for the molecule, for the fuel itself. And 8.5 is for the transportation and the distribution. Why? Because we are not at scale. We need to go at scale now.
And you were mentioning Germany. They just emphasize the building of their network. They put some money and want more stations, and they already have 100.
Yeah, you know, I start myself the first filling station in 2001 in Luxembourg.
It's been working everywhere in the world and with every company in the field of hydrogen, anyways.
But it was with the Daimler bus. It was the first demo. And since 2001 in Europe, we deploy all Europe approximately 224, something like that, of which 100 are in Germany, so 50% in Germany. When you make a map, you are shocked. You know, you see Denmark, Netherlands, Germany, going to Italy, a little bit in Spain, and a couple of filling stations in France. And when I say filling station, you have to talk about large-scale filling station, of course. Forget about the demo for a couple of cars. So, and they accelerate in that area. You know, they announced recently in Germany another 100. You know, because it's enough to map. And this is also linked to the AFIR letter we send. We need the minimum mapping on the filling station to start the market to kickstart, and then to decrease the price.
So you told about demo stations. Maybe an exception in France, because in the region Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, there's a project called ZEV,
yes,
for zero emission valley. And 20 stations are planned.
Yeah, yeah, no, of course, we need to accelerate.
We talk about public stations.
Yeah, we need to accelerate this initiative because it's coming from the ground. I think the time is very good today. You know, there is a kind of alignment of the planet because the society wants to change. First, we know that we have made an impact on the environment, our kids. Not for me it's too late, I would say, but for my kids and the kids of my kids, it's too late. We need to develop an ecosystem and to build on that. But I really think that we need to do like we did sometime, you know, if you remember what was the creation of Europe, CECA, Communauté Européenne de Charbon et d'Acier, or the European and Steel.
Back to the 60s. Huh?
But this, I think, was a good signal. And this was really something that is important. Why don't we do the same with hydrogen today to make something that is European hydrogen vision deploy a network? You know, you can imagine, because today, again, it's not negative. Huh? You have the city of Dijon that is buying 5 buses, the city of La Roche-sur-Yon, 2 buses, etc. If you go and say, Caetano or Toyota, I buy you 5,000.
Not the same case.
Huh? You need to make 5,000 filling station network. The price will drop down immediately. So it's time to accelerate. It's time to create this kind of momentum and to do that. Then also, I want to say one point because to be clear, hydrogen is not the only solution. Huh? I always say that. We need everything to decarbonize. Electric are very good. The hydrogen, there are 2 drivers. When you want to embark a lot of energy and when you want to refill fast. Just give you one number. When you refill a Toyota Mirai with 5 kilo in 5 minutes, is equivalent to 2 megawatt supercharger. You will never see a supercharger of 2 megawatt. Tomorrow we are going to refill in 1 minute. This is a new protocol. It's equivalent to 10 megawatt supercharger. Never. You will never see 10 megawatt supercharger on the street. So you have to have a merit order in the term of technology you are using.
You were talking about ambition. Maybe there is an example in Paris, and you're involved in that, is for hype taxis, because HRS, the French company you're working for, is involved as a partner to develop a network of stations.
Yes. Yeah, this is another example. You see, we can list several examples where today already hydrogen is making sense. That's why I think we need to accelerate to decrease the cost. It makes sense in the forklift. In the US, you have tens of thousands of forklifts running on hydrogen. Why? Because it's more efficient for the customer. Because you can use 24/24. And the taxi is a similar situation. When you want to use it 24/24, the hydrogen makes sense because you can use the car 24 hours a day, which is the best business case for you. So it's important. And the hydrogen, I would say, brings something that is very important in terms of energy. Every time I say what is going to be important tomorrow, and also starting today, I will give you one example with this funny toy I bring with me. You know, you always all has this battery AA. You know, it's no more the price of the megawatt hour that is important. It's where and when you use it. Where and when has a more higher value. So we can dream about renewable every time, but if everybody say, you need to plug at 12, and everybody need to plug at 12, the shower and the coffee, it's at 1. Okay, after 1 you don't do the shower, you have no coffee, etc., etc. And the example of when and where, you know, this is electricity. You could plug your telephone to the network and have access to the network. And already, by the way, on the network, the cost of electricity you pay at home is approximately 4 times the price of the production, because you pay the service and the grid. And here, where and when, you make the easy calculation. I made this with my kid, and they say, it's funny. Here, we have megawatt hours inside. It's electricity. It costs $0.5 euro on Amazon. And you make the calculation, and you say, how much do I pay that? We buy 5 billion of this per year in France, 5 billion. It costs 250,000 euros per megawatt hour. Why? Because I use when and where I want. And so tomorrow, what is important is where and when.
Great. Can we say there is an emergency to build a strong network because some parts of the world are going very fast? I was thinking to Korea, China, of course.
I think each economy is driving with its own story. I can talk about a lot of examples in Korea where they build networks of pipeline. You have also UK, who are doing also pipeline of hydrogen, which is the easiest way to transport energy, because the issue with the electron today was always considered as the top of everything. And today we have to consider that electron can be transformed in another thing. It can be transformed in hydrogen, and hydrogen can be transported and stored for 1 hour, one month. So Korea is some example. They created network. Japan, they have also more than 100 filling stations. China is also a special country where, this. Sometimes I say this is the benefit of unilateral democracy. I would say sometimes, when they say, okay, we do 1,000 filling stations, we do 1,000 filling stations in Shinjuku.
It's top down, huh? Not bottom up.
They do it and they make it. And by the way, they divided the price by 2 in 1 year. So we have to be careful about what is happening everywhere. Of course, we have a lot of expertise in France. We do a lot. We are going to have money to do investment in technology. I think for me, we have to be careful in investing in the right way. And I would say stop the demo. The demonstration is done. Making hydrogen is done. We can transport it, we can compress, we can deliver. So we need to go really at scale.
So you were mentioning pipelines. There is a project for European
hydrogen
backbone. So
it's
it may be very useful.
Yeah, because I was in this started in 2012. It's more famous today, and I was in Groningen with Gazuni, who's managing the network there, like our French GRT or the Italian SNAM, where we talk. And I said, you have to think about the future. What will be the future? In Groningen, they have also another issue because they are depleting their natural gas resources, and they had also some earthquake. The society was a little bit stressed about using more natural gas and pumping more natural gas under the sea. So they say, okay, we have an asset, and we have to do something. And what will be next? And they started thinking, can we start with hydrogen, importing hydrogen, developing hydrogen? And also the link was easily made with Germany, because Rotterdam or Netherlands is closely linked to the big Ruhr area. Again, steel and coal, same story. And where they need to import energy. So the connection was made, and they started to create this European hydrogen backbone. Funny things, I think 4 or 5 years ago, it was not already the name European Hydrogen Backbone. When I talked to Gazuni, RGE, OV, and SNAM, it was called ScanMed, which is funny, Scandinavia to Mediterranean. And France was forgotten. It's funny. When I showed this picture, I say, oh my God, the ScanMed is there, and there is no France. And they wanted to go to Morocco through Tunisia and Cagliari. Finally, I think we need to do that. Why? Again, to transport 1 gigawatt hour of energy costs 10 to 15 times more in electron compared to molecule. We transport molecule. We don't transport electron. And we don't store electron also. Just another small number I want to share with you. I took on the last report of IEA the number of batteries that are installed in the world, the stationary battery to store electricity, like Tesla, Powerball, etc. The total amount of battery in the world is 10 gigawatt hours. Maybe it doesn't sound to you. If you divide by the production of electricity of the world, which is 25,000 terawatt hours, it gives you 10 seconds. Of the electricity, which is 20% of your energy, so it gives you 2 seconds of energy. So you need chemical.
Last question before the conclusion. How can we imagine the refueling station of the future? A combination of e-fuel, hydrogen, electricity?
No, I think we need, as I said, go back to the first priority, decarbonization. Some technology are ready to go for electric, very good. Small cars, back and forth, going to home, some transportation that is very nice, because battery is more efficient. And if you have the electricity, again, the why and when, available when you need to recharge. and if you have time for recharging. Second, you use the extra electricity to use hydrogen. Use hydrogen as much as you can. Industry, it's already 100 million tons, so 800 million tons of CO2 you can save. Not a small drop. Huh? You can do a lot. 800 million tons is a similar amount of CO2 of a country like Germany. Then you can produce ammonia. Ammonia is easy to transport. 200 million tons of ammonia already traveling around the globe, 20 million tons by boat. It can be used as a fuel. A lot of companies are working on that in co-firing, making electricity, etc. You can produce SAF, synthetic aeronautic fuel, or e-fuel, or whatever, that can go to, we can resynthesize a similar kerosene we are using in the plane, because it's very much complicated to make a 200 passenger plane running fully electric or hydrogen in the next, let's say, 20 years. So it's a good option, and it's also a good option to capture CO2 where you have the CO2 like cement, like waste, so you can produce this cement. So we need to put all this technology.
Thank you, Adamo. We have to stop now, but we could speak, I know, for hours with you. Adamo Scanchi was my guest. See you soon on Hyvolution TV.
Thank you, everybody, and available if you want to continue the discussion. I will be very happy. Thank you, Laurent.